All right.
We haven't done it in so long.
Here we are. Oh my gosh. We were gone for a little while.
And we back with the
Apologies.
jump off.
We've done that before. we did that little song and dance.
Listen, the reach for originality isn't helping nobody, okay?
Yes. This is the age of AI. Sorry, y'all. Okay, but we're gonna turn up today.
Hey, turn up.
What are you gonna do with that?
What do you mean? What am I gonna do?
Do you have your 7-Eleven big cup? Because I feel like you just poured in there.
No,
I need my I have what is my favorite place? And I'm forgetting it. The Rainforest Cafe cup. Okay, that's pretty big. That's pretty big. Anyways, this is gonna take me a second, so
Yeah, all right.
I should have really planned this out.
You made it seem like it was a champagne bottle you were gonna take like a machete.
Hey,
there you go.
We got
Wow.
Yes. Okay. Well, we have reconvened in order to speak on the reunion part 1 for Real Housewives of Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
I have no toast prepared. So, ladies, do either of you want to offer up anything?
Like to keep it positive and affirmative, I would like to toast to Caroline Brookes' stunning face. My God, that woman's face.
It's crazy. That was exactly where I was going to.
And Katherine wanted to hate on it. She's gonna be like,
it's an undeniable face card, as the kids say.
And that's why I don't deny it. That's why I don't deny it, but I still am not.
Then raise your glass to it.
All right.
Guess what? Guess what, world? Better cheekbones than Cynthia Bailey. Gotta say. You are now watching Mind You Media.
Mind You!
We can't use that. We don't have the rights. You are now streaming Mind You Media.
Enough. Enough. Not because that's blasphemous, but just because, even though this is literally my impulse, they're both beautiful.
They're both beautiful.
Yeah, why do you have to tear down another Black woman?
I'm not saying that.
This troubled.
Listen here, Miss I Love Caroline Stanberry.
Oh, please.
That's all she does. Okay.
Please.
You know what's crazy? Because when I raised, like when I'm staring at Caroline Brookes, I was about to be like, yo, she might be better than Lesa. And then Ellen. I know. No need for competition. They're both beautiful in their own way.
You know that meme of the cat paw that's like, it's time to stop.
Yes. Oh, I love the Marge and Lisa.
I can't find that one anywhere these days.
Yeah, it's so hard to find. Yes.
I don't know. With her hand on the shoulder. And she's like,
so good. Because it also is like reminiscent of the computer lab in 2001,
Mm-hmm.
Those big back Macs, remember those?
Yes, and then the teacher sees that you're on the game website as opposed to researching.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Not all of us who asked for that.
Let's just get into this. Please. All right. This part 1 of the reunion makes me think, why is it even in parts? Because not a lot happened.
Yeah, it's
could have been a one-time thing.
Failing miserably at moderation, because it could have been a rich part 1, but for some reason he barely said anything.
And they didn't. If it's gonna be 2 parts, they didn't do that good job of teasing certain conversations in one part that aren't going to be talked about till the second part. It's
Andy's losing. He was never that good, but he's getting worse, and that we need a new one.
Personally, I think.
To Ellen's point, I think it's also the truth that they probably didn't know whether or not they were going to commit to a 2-part because the ratings with Dubai have been up and down. So
Yeah.
that probably could also be a factor.
That's true. I think he's trying on a new personality with that beard.
Yeah. He think it's like he means to be letting go a little bit, but it's I don't know what it is. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And don't be trying to welcome us in Arabic and
Oh my God. Okay,
intentionally.
so it's glad you mentioned that because he says it, and another redeeming moment for Sarah. She's like, "It's halal," and he's like, "What? It's Allah."
I know, so slowly.
We're here in the Burj Khalifa, where it's like, shut up, Andy, please. Where Beyonce was. Shut
And then
up.
she gave him an A for effort.
Yeah.
It was a Swift kind of shade. Well, it was an A for
No,
effort, but
and people, the problem with Sarah for a lot of people is that she's an elitist. This is the right time for the elitism to kick in. Okay.
exactly. You better
Is
bring
it
him
really?
to his knees. Bring him to his
That's
knees.
free Palestine. Yes, it is.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean that. I'm like, is it really elitism if you tell a white man not to butcher your language?
Well, exactly. But this is part of the thing. People. I mean, Sarah does do this, superiority complex thing occasionally, but this, I'm here for it in this instance.
In case
This is it.
In case you couldn't tell, viewers, Ellen likes Sarah now.
Sarah redeemed herself. Like
we need to keep it real. She started off nasty, very nasty, but she's since made some move. First of all, she kind of calmed some of that shit down.
Mellowed.
Yeah, she did.
You know what it was? She had her own relationship shit to worry about, so she couldn't play the superior force because when she has a relational dynamic to concern herself with, she has less energy to try to be somebody's, saint.
Maybe
Whatever.
there's something to be said for at least her narration of her spiritual journey. Like whatever we'll say about her little white bunned man from Ohio who's her spiritual leader, like maybe if she believes in her, like in her practices, then maybe it manifests as some changed behavior or changed priorities.
Because also Brooks left, behind the spiritual journey. And I feel like old Sarah would have talked down to her about that, made it a whole thing, but she just let it go.
She laughed about it. And I would have been mad personally, right? Because I would have been like, why don't you want to do better for yourself? Like, anyway, I can identify with that. We know Sarah's a Capricorn. I have a lot of Aquarius in my chart. I can identify with that. But she said, she asked for a refund. she earnestly laughed. And it's like no love lost between them.
Yeah.
So that's a meaningful, that is a sign of growth. Good for her.
What is it a sign of type-wise, though? Is Sarah a 4, a 7?
I stand by this. Last time we got in this debate, Ellen told me I was hitting below the belt.
Are you unmoving because that's what you said first?
Because she's an 8, that's why.
Or are you incorporating what you have seen of the rest of the season, ma'am?
I'll let Ellen speak first. I'll let Ellen. I've done a lot of speaking.
She asked you a direct question.
Oh, that was to me specifically.
Yes.
To me specifically, I still think that, it is very like a 7 to get caught up in their newest relationship and not care about anybody else and let things and commitments and ideals that they were obsessed with all fall by the wayside.
I can see that about the ideals. I just wonder if that's what she was doing this season, because she seemed very present with the women and their affairs even while she was dating Akeem. Maybe because Akeem lived in her phone, word to Karen.
Yeah.
So pretty balanced.
And I will, to corroborate your account, I remember this past season of MAFS US, this actually trash ass season that turned a lot of people away from the show. There was a woman, a blonde, I'm not forgetting her name. And when she came on the scene, I said, oh, that's a 7 and I'm going to hate her. But actually, she wasn't that bad of a 7. And she turned out to be besides the Black woman Lauren, she turned out to be the only other one with sense. Like,
Oh, was that the therapist one? The one that had
no,
like
the therapist one is sick and she's a liar, and there is something at play there. We're gonna find out. But no, this is the blonde one.
who is she with? I can't
I
remember.
don't
I only
remember her
saw part
name.
of that
She's
season.
with the crazy man. She's with the 6th man who was like, shut up about all the stuff. Like, he was always going like this. And he would get into fights with Dr. Pia, and he would be like,
See, and Lisa is a 6 because that's how she was looking at Ayan at that party in the finale.
She was.
oof.
She
Okay,
was giving me
we are
more.
jumping.
Well, okay. Wait, we're gonna talk about it later.
Because we gotta get there. We gotta get there.
Yeah.
But I will say I have seen 7 behavior. I'm pretty sure 7 behavior where they seem like the kind of self-involved typical 7, and then they get in a relationship and they become the like compliant woman. To some extent, that is what this blonde woman on Maths became, but not in a way that was crossing the line. A lot of people were like, girl, stand up. And I would say she tried to stand up for herself, but she was also trying to work against probably her controlling tendencies and her tendency to run. And she gave that man, Brendan was his name, but I still don't remember hers. And she gave that man a lot of grace, but it did have the tendency to look like she was like, okay. Like, she was shrinking. And I will say that's what Sarah's giving in a but Sarah's looking for that dynamic, right? It's like, I don't think a 7 is ever looking for that dynamic. That's the thing.
Well, do you think that him living in the phone is a way to, appear to like be conservative, but really like she's resisting,
No, what you mean?
Like, because he doesn't live in Dubai, it's like that's her resisting like actually being, dominated.
You mean like she might be ambivalent about her own values or something?
Yeah.
Well, she's definitely ambivalent about her values. And I don't find a 7 to be that ambivalent about their values. You know what I mean? I find them to have some level of conviction, especially given their proximity to the 8, as opposed to the 4, who is like fundamentally ambivalent about a desire to be debased and a desire to be superior. Because like that's what it seems like Sarah is getting. Like, and maybe when she has a little bit of both in her life, she can be more balanced. Like, she doesn't have to play the kind of superiority thing in relation to the other women when she has the capacity to enact the lesser supplicant version in a relationship with a man, which I don't want that for her or any woman, frankly. But like, that's what she's looking for, and that brings her balance. Then
I want to know who she gets with. I do want to see who Sarah gets with next. Like,
I would love her next boyfriend to be living in Dubai. I want to see what that dynamic,
Yeah. But the reason why it's going to be hard to find one is because
Maktoum's going to compete for attention with her.
Who?
I said Maktoum. I'm sorry. I love him. I'm not trying to be messy. I do.
Maktoum's going to steal her man. Yeah, but I think maybe the pickings are slim in Dubai in terms of like eligible men, because they're either married or if they're single, they're there to be perpetual bachelors.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard.
All right. Well, let's keep thinking about Sarah at a later date.
What's our assessment? Like, did she do better?
Oh, I do think that do better as opposed to the beginning of the season. She definitely, I think, I'm not willing to say she has had an internal shift or anything, but she definitely calmed down, which is what I needed. Like she really just was like, okay, I'm here. I'm not on offense. I'm not trying to control people.
I also just feel like she had good takes. Like, I feel like she was infrequently in the fray of whatever existing conflict was happening, but would always like have a reasonable position to like, ask people to consider in the dispute or something. Like, when her and Caroline Stanberry got to the back and forth shut up at the desert, it was like in defense of a reasonable position. Like, no, you should celebrate wanting her to do better. Like that's, celebrate wanting Brooks to do better in terms of getting spiritual healing. And then Stanberry goes hard to be like, oh, what are you, her mother? You're speaking for her? And she's like, shut up. No, she's my friend. And I'm after her best interest. That's what I am. Like,
Yeah.
that's a very reasonable position.
I think that was really the turning point in the season for Sarah.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. She exposed Stanberry for actually being a very hateful and terrible friend, right? And that's why Stanberry's so triggered by her, because it's like here Sarah goes modeling a good friendship to Brooks, and here you go exposing that you only ever wanted her if she could be your like tragic lapdog, creating conflict where you are able to come out on top.
It's not fun if she advocates for herself and her interest and doesn't just be messily following after you. Like, that's whack.
Clearly. And okay, also the point of discussing Sarah, or shifting a position on Sarah, and it's not because like we were blind before and now we see. It's like, no, she was having bad behavior before.
If I rewatch the season, I know I would be like, it's not worth telling you I changed, like she was really out of pocket.
She was totally out of pocket. And I'm glad that we can model changing our opinion on somebody, because too often people get stuck in their position. Like, I continue to see lots of Sarah hate on the internet, and I'm just like, okay, like, because there's too much fidelity to someone on that cast if the position consistently remains. You know what I mean? Like,
and we should model a change in opinion if someone is modeling a change in behavior, which
exactly
to me, yeah.
And also, what I like about Dubai, as opposed to some of the more solidified cough RHOP franchises, is that the women are still honest enough that, like, not that they're the most honest people ever, but they'll say what they think in a moment, in a confessional, at the table, that even when you dislike someone, you can say, I agree with Talene in this scene, it's much more dynamic.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the positions or the personalities haven't been so ossified yet that people are
in other words, they're not even settled on the character they will play in this, the way say Karen is settled on the character she's gonna play.
Yes.
Ashley is settled on the character she's gonna play. Giselle didn't settle on a character. Actually, Giselle's character changed. Giselle just got miserable and fixed into that position in her actual life.
Yeah.
We'll see what she comes up with this season.
All right. I say we go to the main thing that everybody's talking about when it comes to Dubai.
Let's do it.
I would first like us to park the Talene and Brooks, since we're talking about changing positions, because we were also singing that girl's praises at the start of the season.
To be fair to us, it was a first impression.
It was the little.
She makes a good first impression, I would say.
That wasn't good, and I don't take it back, because the first impression read was, she was saying good things, good enough things, but
right.
And
she later went on to betray herself, actually.
Yes. And I will also say that I thought, rare moment where I thought a question or a comment that was like from the public read out on the reunion was a good comment, which was one of the people was like, Talene, like, you're one of the few like people that's ever come on a Housewives show and like just blended in. You don't seem new. Like, she really did not. By the end, when that was read, I was like, oh yeah, she's a new housewife,
Yeah, that's true. Although I don't know that it's saying much, because in the first few seasons of a franchise, everybody's still new at it. Like, nobody feels settled in their position. And I think like the level of desperation from her is giving new cast member to me. So that's why I was like,
Really?
I wouldn't say that. Like the thirst looks like the thirst of a new person.
And the thirst built because she was coming on more casually in that first
Yeah.
episodes, you know, and more funly and more secure, you know,
Mhm.
more secure, even though like an example of this would be when she and Rafi had the party at their house, you know, she was drinking like, woo, I'm nervous. But even saying I'm nervous, let me get a drink is an honest representation of
Yeah.
feeling that she didn't, you
Yeah.
know, she didn't have to hide or pretend or, you know, put it behind
Yeah.
something else. And then she just
Mhm.
became like a nasty little kiss ass suck up, you know, unprincipled, you know, appendage to power, and it all went downhill.
And I think that's exactly the like sign of a new person, right? Because she was just like, "Oh, where's the power? Bet, let me run that way."
Mm.
And you know, speak of the comment, Andy is cherry picking the fuck out of these
Oh,
comments
I mean,
to
yes.
bolster the like women he wants to be the faves and the because that these things are not representative. Like the internet is
Yeah.
not overwhelmingly saying Taleem's great. None of that.
No.
It's trash what he's doing and it's fucking transparent. He better
But
shut
I
the fuck up.
actually stand by the new house. I think that Talene didn't look any more thirsty than Ashley did in season 8, you know?
Yes,
That's
okay.
fair.
And no more thirsty than Ayan has managed to become.
Exactly.
Hold it. Just hold it.
Okay, but so we'll just say a quick word about Talene v. Brooks because what it started early and then they seem to repair things in Bali, but now they became enemies again. Like even by the end of the season, they weren't enemies. They
I was
became
surprised.
enemies in the rewatch, like in watching back the season.
They were enemies at the reunion.
Yeah, because they've been fighting as the season has been airing
But
online.
were they? But I feel like you said, after Bali, I thought they were at a
Who are that? We're talking
Fine.
about Talene and
Brooks.
Brooks. Okay.
like on the
Yeah.
last episode, they didn't seem to be beefing anymore.
No, they weren't. They were not.
But then
You are
they
correct.
come to the reunion and they're opposed again. You know,
The reunion was filmed recently.
yeah. So you're just
The
saying
reunion was
after
filmed.
watching the season, then they're like, oh, that
Yes.
reunion flamed
They
us.
were fighting actively while the episodes were being aired. Like, and then when
Yeah.
Talene went on Watch What Happens Live, you know, as we posted on our
Okay.
page, she
Okay.
said, well, which she apologized for this reunion. Brooke sleeps with so many men for money. And you could see it was one of those like, it's like how Ashley Darby lies, like with so much conviction that you're like, wow, it's almost like that's true. You know, like
Yeah.
you really
It
said
must
that
be
was
true if your chest is that out, you know?
Yeah.
You know
And
what?
she just
It's a mark of a particular kind of to suck up kiss ass
Yep.
that she apologized so many times throughout the reunion. And it starts to be the case, like, I don't know if this is like a reasonable thing to say, but like, girl, you're issuing too many apologies. So that either means that like
You
you
move
say
without
shit in the
integrity.
yeah, you move without integrity, you say shit in the moment that you don't really stand behind and then hope to make good on it after the fact. Or you are just like shitty. I don't know, like it just makes me think, okay, Celine, you're just gonna keep going with whoever is around you, doing what their
Yes,
bidding is, and then apologizing like, I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. In other
if
words, you actually can't be trusted because the contingency of the moment is gonna compel you to say some nasty and ugly shit about your 10-year friend. Like you can't be trusted. At no point should you be forgiven for any of this trash.
and it's like that is a lie. So it's like, okay, you're apologizing for, if I said like, oh, it like you just lied on me and you just are gonna apologize for it, like you just made up a lie.
She didn't
Right.
say she made it up in the apology though on purpose. That's also an Ashley Darby apology.
Mhm.
Right? Ashley Darby will apologize because that was inappropriate. But then now say it's not true.
Celine was like, I went too
Yeah.
far. Well,
Yes, classic. Classic.
Yeah, like in
But
what regard? Because you
fine.
made something up. That's
Yeah.
how you went too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole business with Brooks sticking up for Talene after Stanberry, said that Sergio saw her vagina at the Beyonce concert.
Mhm.
We all at the beginning of the season were like, yo, why is Brooks going so hard after a while, right? little did we know, the show production didn't show a very essential moment early in the season. What was that, like episode 2 or 3, when Brooks, Talene, and Sarah are on the balcony at Talene's house, when Talene starts crying at the like, what, unfairness or feeling bad about whatever it was that Stanberry said. And with that piece of context, even just that little bit of, you know, production, if they had shown that, it would have made more sense, a little more sense, if not a great deal more sense, of Brooks going so hard in support of Talene, because it just ended up looking like she was manufacturing an issue between the three of them, and it actually had more integrity than that. Both Brooks said, like, you know, I told Stanberry in the moment, like, no, give her a chance. You know, I can imagine she could have gone harder in the moment, but that is a way of saying, like, you're taking it too far, so chill. And then if she sees Talene being moved to tears and needing support from her and Sarah, then, like, why wouldn't she then, if that's your friend of 10 years, like, go hard at the friend that, you know, said the comment?
I thought that was the... Go on.
And Andy tries to go, why didn't you address it in the moment? And she's like, you know, this is how he can get people too, because a lot of people aren't gonna remember what the fuck they said in the moment.
Right.
And then she was like, wait a minute, I did. Sarah was like, like, you did say it in the moment, you know what I mean? And it's like, not only did she say it in the moment, she said, oh, give her a chance, but it is appropriate, first of all, to hold back. I mean, to say what you have to say in the moment, especially if she's threatening her position on the show. That's what Stanberry was doing, everyone. Like, it's appropriate to say something in the moment, and then it's appropriate to even turn up the volume on that, because when they tried to hold Stanberry accountable, she's just like, I didn't do shit. I don't care, whatever. Who cares? Like, you know, and then you can, there's a bunch of shit I'm sure we didn't see about how Stanberry was moving that is probably making Brooks go, wow, now she's...
Yeah. And that piece that you just said, we didn't know at that moment either that it was a way, like, Stanberry's comment was a way of undermining her possibility of showing up on the show.
Yeah.
You know, Brooks, like, Stanberry was putting forward her own names. And so, like, this is my friend of 10 years who I'm writing for. And then she's trying to use this Beyonce moment to make her look
that
bad.
part too. Yes.
To make her seem like
I remember thinking in the beginning of the season, Stanberry is trying to draw borders around who gets in and who but I obviously didn't know she was putting forward her own name.
She put forward 3 names.
So now you see she has motive to go. But I just thought, like, oh, you're mad because Talene is young and Sergio saw her vagina, and now you're worried Sergio was gonna want a young vagina. Like, that is probably unconsciously also playing at shit. Okay, like, you know what I mean? Not like the direct threat that Talene will take her man, but kind of the, like, resentment over a younger fit body when Caroline Stanberry's over there looking like that, right?
And you
like,
know, Caroline Stanberry's old ass white friends are older and crustier too. So it's like,
she's not gonna bring anybody that's gonna be a threat to her, right?
Exactly.
Unless she's putting forward Yasmin, her daughter.
My God.
Yasmin is trying to get on that show.
Mark my words, Yasmin is going to the US for college to join that show that Candy's daughter and the other kids, you know, they're doing
my gosh.
No, and I won't watch it.
I do not want to. It's Candy and what's her name? Kim's daughter
Riley.
Too.
Yes, and Gia from New Jersey, Teresa's daughter from New Jersey.
Riley, Brielle, and whoever that is.
Oh, Brielle. Brielle's the younger one.
Oh, who's the big one?
Wait, where's the older daughter? Where's Brielle?
Brielle is whose kid?
Kim Zolciak.
Oh yes. Okay, I just confused. The older one for Kim is.
I thought it was Brielle's the short little.
No, Brielle is the older one.
Okay, maybe she's the older one. Maybe she's the older one.
She was the more character. Yeah.
Yeah, the younger. I would argue the younger one. But anyway, they look alike too, and they're both trying to, you know, be on TV or whatever.
Well, not anymore. I don't know if you've seen Brielle recently. But she's.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna look after. Okay, we
But
were saying that Stanberry clearly had motive.
yes,
to
and
block
let me
Celine.
say this: production leaving out Talene crying in that scene
Mhm.
was the dirtiest thing I've actually ever
Yep.
witnessed on Bravo production. Like that
Yep.
was crazy because
Mhm.
I did really feel like Brooks
Yeah.
was going too hard.
Me
Brooks had
too.
this
Me
vendetta. Da, da,
too.
da. Even if I empathized with how she felt,
Mhm.
it was not. I was like, okay, but I think what also came out in the reunion was beyond that active dirt that production was doing then. Because these women actually are friends, or at least run in the same circles in reality and do talk, there were so many conversations and moments that were being referred to and not recorded.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, to
And
your
at some
point
point,
of what Stanberry was actually up to,
mhm.
clearly it was not all captured.
At some point she tried to be like, no, that didn't come up. And it's like, girl, we already established lots of stuff happened that was not on the show. So you better shut up. That's not anything you're gonna stand on. But back to the crying scene real quick. Not only was Talene crying, therefore shedding light on the fact that she clearly was affected by this. You see Brooks go, oh no.
And then
Like
come
Brooks
over,
is
hug
worried. Yes,
her.
Brooks, you saw like a moment of worry and concern in Brooks's face. And she's like, oh
Real
shit.
friendship.
Do you remember in that scene at the end, like production on the episode portrays Brooks saying the final word of like, "You stupid little dumb bitch witch," like she's drinking some tequila because Sarah's like, "You need to get tea, not tequila," and then whatever the scene ends where Brooks calls Stanberry, "She's such a little evil witch" or something. And
Mhm.
the effect is to be like, damn girl, you're going really hard. We're just kind of talking about it. And like, you just keep going hard. But if my friend just cried over this thing that I told you that just happened, yeah, like, of course she's probably going hard to be like, yeah, that little dumb little witch. Like, don't let her get you riled up or whatever. It's like
Yes.
that sort of thing.
And Talene is a 2. Brooks is probably a 4. You ever see a 4's relationship to a 2?
We like them.
That's what I was gonna say, boo. That's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that, like, Mass is another great place to find them match up 4s and 2s. I've seen a female 4, a male 2 in a relationship, and the female 4 is very much like overbearing. In other words, protection is like Brooks. She's like, oh, Talene is weak and can't stand up for herself. I'll do it.
Mhm,
Like it
mhm.
seems like that's what that's why she gets really drunk. She gets drunk because she's ambivalent, because she's still like, I'm friends with Stanberry, but she did this fucked up thing to my friend who actually is a real friend to me. So I'm a drink, to manage that ambivalence, that difficulty. But she tried to go hard about it because she was like, Talene's not able to stand up for herself. And I could see her watching Talene back down and thinking, oh, it's because she's afraid. Now it is on me to
Yeah.
actually defend her because I have more seniority and I'm braver.
And
Like,
yeah, this is my person that I brought on the show. Like, let me make a way for her.
Yep.
The
yeah,
one thing
and then
go on.
she might think she was sabotaging her. Like, it's like, you bring me on the show, and then apparently the girl who's calling the shots doesn't want me around. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it does make Talene's transgression just as much as like production hiding that moment explains Brooke's actions more. To that same extent, it makes Talene's actions so much more insidious and
Yeah.
nasty. You stupid little. Oh, I can't believe you made Brooks into the problem when she was there to support you, and then you ran to the new power source that you
and
identified.
no woman on that stage disagrees with that take. They
Yes.
all thought Talene was fucking shit, including Stanberry.
Yes.
Stanberry does not like Talene.
Including Stanberry.
Yes.
And what about on the reunion when Talene admits, like, we didn't even film together that much? Oh, is that why you were going so hard to suck her tits?
You could see Stanberry holding her tongue. That's because I don't like you, bitch. Like,
Yeah. That
about
was
to
not
snap
an
back.
accident. Yeah.
You're not my cup of tea. That's
After
why
I saw your vagina, I didn't need to see more.
literally she you catch her being shady to her all season long. She doesn't like her.
Yes, she doesn't. But I will say, I did still feel a little sad for Talene. Not sad, sad's not the right word. When she was being described as hysterical, in that scene where she's crying, and then it shows the crying scene, I felt some type of way because it was like,
Who said
that
that?
was so
Who said that?
precious. That was such a precious moment where Brooks was like, oh, like she was being such a, but
Oh,
now
you feel
it's
like
being
her
rewritten.
characterization is like disparaging and in a way that betrays the love that was in the. Yeah, but it's like
It
on the
betrays the
heels
love,
of.
and it's also like classic, oh, I'm trying to make a woman sound like, she's
You
not
mean
making
Brooks is
sense.
doing that?
Yeah, she's trying to say Brooks is doing that. But, when you're gonna, it's her way of underscoring, girl, you were distraught. And now you're trying to act, but you catch her minimizing it. She didn't say it, she's crying hysterically on the ground. That was obviously an overstatement. But Celine's like, what? Like, she's trying to act like she wasn't. It's like the real integrity move would have been like, you're going too hard. Actually was upset. I was upset. That's true.
Yeah.
But she
Yeah.
can't admit
No,
that
that's true.
because she fucking pivoted one goddamn 80 immediately
Mhm.
after,
No.
Yeah.
which makes her tears questionable now.
Well, it makes it seem like those tears were really about being approved of because
Yeah.
approval was
Oh,
going to
yeah.
secure
Yes.
her
Yeah,
spot on the
like,
show.
I'm triggered. It's like when the popular girls didn't want me in school.
I don't
I'm
know. Am I gonna
stressed.
get on? I'm not gonna get on. Don't show it. Please don't show me crying. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
make the cheerleading squad or
which
something.
explains the stress of the party a little bit more as well. Oh, speaking of productions violations, Caroline Brookes never called her a cunt. That's first of all.
Yes.
And then for production to try to play that up like that was the biggest violation, when we all know gay men love that as a descriptor for a favorable descriptor for a woman. Like, why are y'all even playing along?
Now a positive descriptor for any circumstance that you feel like is cool.
Yeah.
So, and she never said it. She
Yeah.
actually never said it.
It's true. Also, British people say that word all the time, like it's bitch.
Yeah.
So
Because that's who it's a major violation to, right? Like Americans actually don't have the same relationship to it, only like through osmosis. Is it like, I remember at some point in my life, I'm like, oh, that's not my idea of the worst thing you could say to someone. But
it doesn't get used enough, and it doesn't like roll off the tongue readily enough. Like, I don't know, it just feels like that word they tell us we're supposed to be all
no,
about.
but I feel like because it doesn't get used, not that I think it's any worse, but I'm always like, because it's not like so, in the water.
I think of
to
it
be
as
honest,
a white
I react like that when gay men use it very casually. Actually,
Mhm.
that's how I feel about it now. But it never had that much power to me. I just know that, like, oh, it's supposed to be. But I also understood that was a British influence, like just permeating these northeastern, where I'm from, waters. Like,
Yeah.
it was not bigly used where I was growing up.
No, I never heard anyone use it when I was
I
growing up.
associated that as like the thing that white people say that's bad, but like
Exactly, that's what it
if I were
is.
to hear it in my milieu, I'd be like, "Who do you think you are? You trying to what's this for?" Like,
Yeah, and then I think I had to learn what it was, and I was like, oh, it's like a way to. I just knew, oh, that's nasty. Like, that's a nasty thing to, like, that is just bare naked misogyny, if ever
You're
I've
right.
heard.
It's very. It's like, why would you say that?
Yeah, when you know what it means, then you're like, oh, that's hateful.
Yeah.
Like, but that doesn't mean it's like it has the same kind of baggage, social baggage is what I mean.
it's
Meaning versus social baggage is my point.
Yes. I'm going to ask permission one last time. Can we talk about Ayan and Lesa?
It's actually sad though.
I know y'all gonna make me cry for a second time on this.
Well, go ahead, get it out.
My walls are up now that the camera's on.
Well, guess who else's walls are up?
Oh yeah, Lesa Milan.
Yeah, her walls are up. Her walls are up big time. And a lot of people can identify with that, I'm sure.
Can you
It
tell
didn't
us,
come across that well on the reunion, I will say that.
Ellen,
Yeah.
as our resident Twitter dweller or X dweller, can you tell us what the streets are saying? Like where the streets are falling with respect to Lesa and Ayan? Who are people siding on a side? Who's a villain? What's going on? What's the discourse saying?
People with white avatars on Twitter are looking for opportunities to disparage Lesa. The cheapest and most tragic one is where she is. They're like, oh, she couldn't afford Stanberry's right? So they're not even talking about that kind of shit. And what there is a small ounce of legitimate, and they are also their second one that's actually germane to this conflict is when they say, okay, but her repeating victim over and over again, knowing the effect that has on her friend is just nasty. Should we talk about that aspect? Okay, but maybe we want to make clear that our dominant position is Ayan is a tragic pick-me.
Yeah. Ayan has fallen from grace.
And we kind of always knew it.
I have a tendency, what I'm learning about myself, to when I encounter people that display qualities that I enjoy a lot or celebrate strongly, then I overly project onto them that they must have all of the values that I share. So it recently happened on the podcast I watch a lot. And with Ayan, I never thought that she was like the picture of, principled movement or behavior, but I just didn't expect her to fall so low.
Yeah. And especially because she seemed like a pro-Black, pro-Africa voice on the platform. And now she's betraying Lesa to kiss the ass of this crusty-ass white woman.
I will never forget. I remember there was a picture, maybe it was around the time the Beyonce thing happened, but it felt like it was longer ago, of Lesa, Ayan, and Idris Elba's wife, Sabrina, in some context where they were being, photographed together and looked friendly. And I was like, oh, it just like does my heart so much good. What'd you say?
Look at the diaspora.
Look at the diaspora. I was like, it does my heart so much good to see like Black women who in this very like, luxury life, they choose Blackness, like that they choose to socialize and be with each other. Like, means and money can, invite anybody's investments in whiteness to just run rampant. And so I was heartened by that. And Ayan was exactly that, what you said, like the voice of a pro-Black African experience or something. And I was just like, this is the one. She's so much fun.
But she was also saying that explicitly, like she in her confessional season 1, she really was like critiquing Stanberry on the basis of whiteness, which historically on Housewives we don't see anyone like it's like a colorblind whatever.
Yep. And in the instance where there is a like multiracial cast, it's Sheree over here running to kiss Kim Zolciak's ass. Like it's clear that Nene and Kim, when they had problems with Kim Zolciak, that was about Kim's anti-Blackness, but it was never put in such explicit terms, right? Like they never gave expression to a critique of her overbearing and despicable whiteness the way Ayan was just like casually and lightly shitting on Stanberry's crusty ass white Britishness.
Yep.
It's a shame, but it's like, it was very clear to us that she's a 2 in the Enneagram, and an Enneagram 2 is a pick-me, fundamentally. I'm sorry to all the 2s. My mom's a 2. Love you, Mom. The point is that they're pick-me's. Everybody got
See RHOP Kiana Stewart. See RHOP Ashley Darby.
And that's why I said everyone.
Kiana is someone. Talk about projecting things onto somebody. Kiana, I'm still committed to projecting onto. I love it.
You better stop.
That's not wasn't your position. You were. What?
No, I know. Once the show comes on, I know I'll be.
No, and I actually think, given the trailer, if we can sneak peek it, I haven't seen anything I'm mad at from Kiana. I haven't seen anything I'm mad at, but I'm just telling people, brace yourself, right? There's a lot to love about it too, but there are also some things to be wary of.
Well, in the trailer, wasn't Kiana the one getting yelled at by her man? Remember?
Yes.
why they humiliate her like that? Because they really could have. Okay, maybe they didn't humiliate her, but I think her face looked despondent instead of outrage, and I was like, oh no, like he was like, we need to stop talking as much, and she was like, but I guess disappointment is a very fucking reasonable response to that.
That's how you know it's a real relationship. Like she was genuinely like disappointed.
Yeah, it's just that obviously I reached for rage first. So what you're gonna catch of me on camera is me going. The disappointment and sadness is way at the bottom. Where I cut the vulnerabilities away. No, but that's not good. I'm not endorsing that. I am just saying, like, these are the costs. these are the like difficulties of relating to a 2. There are difficulties of relating to a 4. All of them. Not that many. An 8. I was gonna stop there. Like, why
is that the exemplary type here?
Well, because I'm thinking
some
of Brooke.
people. Let me just say, you keep trying to, distance yourself from the critique of the 2. Some people are particularly susceptible to the 2's, manipulations and lies.
Like
and
8s.
So, what'd you say?
Like 8s. Are you implicating me? What's going on here?
Implicating me.
Oh, okay.
You have a very present 2 in your life. Yeah.
Yes, I always have a present 2 in my life, and
yeah. I was raised by it too, like, and that's probably why I'm just like, watch out, like here it comes. You know what I mean? But I don't think my mom's a pick me though. But we're gonna talk about that later. But the thing about Ayan is just that, like, I think there were also moments where it was like, I don't know, it was actually just towards the end, to be honest, where she was like, and then I feel like I must stand up for Lesa. It's like, actually, you could be like, Lesa, come on, let's go to the bathroom. Like, when Lesa is going off, take her to the bathroom. Or you can intervene and go, hey, ladies, let's clarify some things. But you don't have it in you to intervene on the side of right. Your only mode is, how do I ingratiate myself to the person I'm trying to ingratiate myself to? So you produce that conflict for yourself. Exactly. Stand up to that girl and then let her cut you off as a friend and then criticize her for it. But you don't even bother to stand up for her. And then you want to be like, I'm not allowed to have my own voice. Like,
but wrong. You did that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I have a thought here, and tell me if I'm way off base, because I'm open to being off base here.
Woo!
I feel like yes.
That's what I was gonna say.
I feel like we could have clocked and I don't want it to seem like I'm piling on, but I feel like we could have clocked Ayan's turn last season at the end when she opens up to, of all people, Sarah about the FGM. Like like Sarah had seemingly a lot of power that looked different from Stanberry's, but was looking for, supplicants.
Yeah.
And Ayan was, eager to fill that role, even though, like, Sarah is not going to be the most empathetic. Like, like you could have had,
I think you're 1000% right. And frankly, we can see that dynamic reflected in her marriage. Okay. She found a white man to save her. Like, the point is not that you can expect every person who marries a white, but you do need to read that for what it is, because it doesn't mean that Lesa is going to do the same thing Ayan does. But what did we see Lesa do when she came back from her trip to Bali? It was ghetto.
Yeah. And that's the second time she's done that.
When she called Talene ghetto, I was like, enough. And
I'm like, and you know what Talene did at that moment? She said, the black girl's calling me ghetto. She doesn't. I don't even have to say anything, right, everyone? Like, that's what Talene did. And I'm like, and Lesa, you know that? Like, I know that's how anti-blackness works. So why are you wielding ghetto like it
Well,
should be an insult
It
you
was
foist at
she
somebody.
did it in that moment because the husbands were there and Rich was there, and like I think whether or not she was conscious of it, it's like, this is my white security, my white authenticator. Like I can really like play up the thing that I'm not like that. I'm not that thing. You know, when she cried when she was talking to Stanberry about, you implicated me as a sex worker, and people are gonna think that's how I got my husband, how I caught him. Like, is he a prize, Lisa? Like, how did you got him? You secured him?
Yeah, too many instances of her interacting with Rich that exposed to me the character of her white investments, right? And it's like, okay, we pivoted to hers, but we need to give Ion her dues. But yeah, that the point is that like she's probably drawn to these relatively whiter. Sarah's not white, but she's relatively whiter. She's probably drawn to these relatively whiter figures who present themselves as like willing to embrace her, willing to rehabilitate her somehow.
Yeah,
Like,
develop her. Yeah.
yeah, and it's not that Stanberry is not presenting herself that way, but what I will say about Stanberry is that she had a very decent apology in Bali. Her apology was decent. This is the only nice thing you'll ever catch me saying about her. Her
And that's
apology
what
was
I'm
decent.
saying about the dynamism of the cast. I also felt like, okay, you know, like
She's not so hardened. No, because you know why? Because Stanberry's a 7. That's who's a 7. Stanberry actually needs the approval of other people. So she will not create a circumstance where she totally alienates herself and turns she likes there to be division because it's the competitive nature of her, but she needs to secure the fidelity of those who are inclined to give it to her, right? And she's even trying it with Lisa. She was trying to secure her, to put herself in Lisa's good graces. But it's like, I will say that's probably what motivated her apology to Ayan. She's like, ooh, I've pissed Lisa off. I actually think it was about her fear that she pissed Lisa off, and she knew the quality of my apology to Ayan is either going to like win or lose me, the race for Lisa's affections. And she said, okay, I see you're not taking any accountability for the fact that you shared that private thing with me. I should take more accountability, but maybe you should take some, right? And like, even that, I think maybe Ayan resisted it, but I think she said, oh, you corrected me. You corrected me and still made yourself seem grand by you might actually be my white savior after all.
You corrected me, and you like showed me you'd be willing to sit with me in the place of like, responsibility.
Accountability. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, because
you're not leaving me alone.
Yeah. And I liked that phrasing. She was like, if God is mad at me, he's mad at us both. Like we're here together having done bad things, which is like, to hear that, if I don't know how to think about Ayan's like psychic makeup, but it's like, if there's a part of you that can't avow or like be in touch with accountability for wrongdoing, then like that feels like a really safe gesture from somebody to like walk with you to that place and sit down with you. And I feel like that is the moment, because the next episode is when they went to the polo match, and Ayan was like, well, it made me realize like maybe I wasn't so mad at Stanberry as I thought I was. Maybe I'm mad at Lisa. And I was like, what?
And the thing is, like, bitch, you been mad at her. You cursed her out that same night for reacting very reasonably to the betrayal by saying, I'm not going to trust you anymore. Like I guess if one evaluates that wholesale like a therapist, you go, that's a big statement to make over one transgression, but it's also quite reasonable. And she apologized for it, recognizing, she said, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Like, although a lot of people would react that way, right? She's like, I shouldn't have said that thing to you.
Yeah. And you have to grant,
still mad at her.
You have to grant Lisa her feelings of betrayal in that moment, because even if that's not how she felt enduringly for all time, it's like, wait, I'm at the table with all these women, and I'm finding out that you told Stanberry about what I sent you in a private message. Like, my instinct, even if I don't want to stick with this forever, is like, dang, I don't even trust you.
Yeah, I wouldn't have apologized.
If you were Lisa, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
very much so.
I too would have had a hard time. Like, what did I do? What
I
did
would
I
want
do
to have a
wrong here?
conversation, but it would be so that we were both on the same page about what Ayan did wrong, you know?
Right. But she would not settle for anything less than Lisa. You know what I mean? Like Lisa was trying to sit here saying, I was hurt. Then Lisa got vulnerable. First of all, she cries, goes out. Then she gets vulnerable. Like, I felt X. Ayan is still like, and I shouldn't have, but you said, and then she makes it mostly, if I recall correctly, when they're sitting on the ground there, she's making it mostly about the way what Lisa said made her feel. And it's like, Ayan, your traumas trigger you and take you to a place you don't want to be in. And I get that. But there is some level of that's not fair to that person. That person can have grace for you and hold that. But when you come out, when you have enough distance, okay, when the trigger is diminished a little bit, you're gonna need to do the right thing and recognize actually your transgression in this situation. Like maybe in the heat of the moment she couldn't do that, but like enough time has passed. Why are you still in this? You know, like if she has PTSD and then she gets reactivated to the scene of the trauma, so she's literally in the space of it. Husband, where are you? Why is she still in the scene of the trauma? Like somebody close to her needs to pull her out of that scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then how is it that you watch back the season and you see yourself, like if I'm Ayan and I see myself, you know, that scene at the table where it's discovered that she was talking to Stanberry, that ought to be enough distance now to reflect like, okay, even if that's where I was in the moment, like this is however many months later after the actual experience that was getting filmed, that like you can't reflect that it might be fair that Lisa would feel blindsided, like it was not a trustworthy gesture for you to share that with Stanberry.
It's all
Go on.
No, I was actually going to say something out of pocket. You go first.
Well, all I'm going to say is if I were Ayan, I would have skipped that episode because I would have known what I did. You know, and it's, I don't need to see it.
The problem is she did skip that episode.
But you don't need to see it played back. I wouldn't have even been mad at Stanberry. I would have felt so humiliated after sharing a thing that I wasn't supposed to share. Like the fact that she had zero like apparent like shame about that.
She said, she did say at the dinner, like, I know, I shouldn't have done it. But that was, that was her trying to mitigate a thing that was out of the pocket. Like,
well, I read some people on the Reddit forums phrase it like this: the heart triad, that's 2, 3, and 4. That's the shame triad, right? Like they manage shame, they manage the abundance of shame that they're holding with ego inflation.
Yes.
So the amount of shame she should have felt about not only violating her friend's trust, not only attempting this pile on top of Brooks, implicating Sarah, whose intentions are to protect Brooks, and not only those, but trying to ingratiate herself with Stanberry, because that's why she shared the thing in the first place. Yeah. The amount of shame she knows is constitutive of those violations, she redirects is as pride, because she's a 2, right? Ego inflation. So now she's in period. Who did these things to me? That amount of shame from actually all the things she did wrong, now directed outward. Now make her bigger.
I just this past weekend, if you know, you know, was saying this to guests at this event. Be so steeped in shame that you actually appear shameless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like for the 8 equivalent of that is you can be so on defense that you're actually on offense.
Right.
Oh, like you can be so defended that you're now doing active things.
Yes, it's like active, you know. Yeah. But the two was involved in this story that I'm referring to over the weekend. It was insane shamelessness, but it was really shame.
And it's not, that's the thing about the 2. It's like, it's pride. It's more than shamelessness, right? Like it's pride. I mean, yeah, we could talk about the way the 4 does it with respect to Brooks, but anyway, it's like not that interesting in this context. It's like, why did I want to think about that one? somebody is relevant too. Okay, but whatever. But the Ayan thing is it's a clear, like, I will not hold it as a burden of shame. I will wear it as a point of I have been aggrieved, right? And that's what which is perfect that the season ends with her and Stanberry doing this little Queen's now kiss my hand thing. It's like, oh, she didn't not only did she not kiss, she didn't kiss your hand, not because she can't play along for a moment, because that whole spectacle is so contrived. Okay, like I'm about to break out into a Nigerian accent. It's so good. It's too much. It was so fucking contrived, right? It's like
that video.
Have you ever seen anything so despicable and tragic? Like, it's not funny. It's not fun. It's not well planned. It's not organic. You two don't actually feel that way about each other. I would be burning shit down in that venue. Like, if my friend went through all this trouble, because that's what she did it for. It was revenge against Lesa. That's what it was.
Yes. Oh, 100%. And everybody there knew it. Even Stanberry knew it.
Yeah, Stanberry did know it, and she felt uncomfortable as a result of it. You could see her
uncomfortable, but like a party to it, as the liberal British whites would do. Like, this is, I'm just gonna disavow and pretend it's not happening or something.
Oh yeah, she was happy to revel in the idea that she's the queen, that people need to. But when Ayan runs off, she's like, should I follow her? Because I don't really know what's. And the answer is no, you shouldn't follow her. Like.
And to me, like, that context is important to explaining the blow up that comes up. Because it's like, y'all, like, Ayan, with Stanberry, you created a whole fucking, like, gasoline keg and then invited Lesa in. Like, you know, you did that to, you know, to incite her, to punish her. Maybe it wasn't to incite, but to punish, to prove a point. And then, like, if I'm Lesa and I'm walking around and I'm seeing you traipse around with Stanberry and produce a whole video short and say it was the most important thing that needs an Academy Award, and then come up to ask me, you know, Ayan says, like, so what do you think? You don't feel
like, it's crazy, right? How she's compounding it. She's just like, react, please react, please react. Please react. And it's like, okay, now I'm gonna react.
And then Lesa doesn't react the first time. She's like, what do you think? She's like, she's like, can we talk? I'm good. And then you're you know, in disbelief about why she's upset.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ayan, like, I want her to be in a, like, episode so it can at least explain, but maybe this is not an episode. Maybe this is just two-ness.
Well, it is. No, I think she is in an episode. It is two-ness, but like the whole manipulation. Okay, triangulation was the word I was looking for. Is it?
Let me say this.
Oh, it is triangulation.
This is only gonna hit for you. Okay. This is a one-on. So it's only gonna hit for you two and select viewers. But in this situation that I was just in over the weekend, she was circling back with some of the most aggrieved people, saying, "Are you having fun? Are you having fun?"
And you know what? Nothing triggers me more from a two. Okay, this is the thing. No, this is what triggers me about it too. They're constantly trying to force you to take the position. It's like, enough. Okay, but I actually don't see that in Ayan in these past few episodes. But so I won't say that. But let me say the triangulation thing, because we were saying this about Monique. We were saying this about Monique. The triangulation thing is, now I know it in this. I'm most familiar with it in this dynamic. Monique is doing I will hold both relationships, but whenever they're in the same space, I would like them to be in conflict and then shore up their fidelity to me when we're in private. Okay, yes. That's what Monique is doing.
Monique is a 3, importantly.
Monique is a 3, right? So she's actually not, I won't say that. I was going to say she's not trying to shrink her, you know, relationships, but a 2 often uses the strategy of triangulation precisely because they can only have loyalty to one person at a time. That usually means the sexual instinct is the dominant one, right? Like I so operate by blind loyalty and ingratiation in my relational dynamics And it's important that like Ayan's married and it can't work with her. It has to happen with friends, right? Like it's funny. She said, okay, if I need to switch masters, I'm leaving Lesa and I need Stanberry in order to pave the way for me to now become Stanberry's loyal subject. I must create conflict with Lesa to authorize my leaving the friendship.
Yeah.
That's what she did. And she produced it.
Yeah.
And she 1000% produced it.
Oh
now the contingent circumstances gave her an opportunity. She didn't share the voice note. Anyway, this is not necessarily conscious, but sometimes it is. She didn't share the voice note to create the conflict, but the way the voice note situation went down, she saw an opportunity.
Yes.
And I think this feeling of being like, I think this feeling of anger or, you know, whatever it is toward Lesa that she's playing out in this contrived conflict is long standing and has probably been like punctuated at those moments throughout the season where like Lesa might say jokingly like, okay, don't steal my best friend. Like, oh, why you have to do it? Go over here with her. Why you got to do that? And I feel like if Ayan has this narrative that's been building that Lesa only wants me to do what she wants me to do, or Lesa only won't let me say XYZ, or I have to do this for the sake of Lesa, then hearing those moments probably amount to evidence in this case that she's building by herself against.
Yeah.
Lesa. You don't tell me.
Which actually makes the voice note. So then the voice note was a setup for a departure from the relationship. Because you're right. Because it's been from the beginning that she's like, me and Stanberry are growing closer. Because again, as I said, and I insist that this fucking happened, in the gap between the two seasons, the production, Truly Original, Andy Bravo made it very clear Stanberry's the big dog, okay? So you either bow to her. And so Ayan, running to power as she does, says, oh, that's the one with power? I would have thought this gorgeous Black woman who seems to have everything would be, oh, no, okay. Okay, the old one with liver spots? Yes, that's fine.
Yep. Oh, it's such a sad tale. Such a sad tale.
Well, let's continue to watch it unfold.
Wait. Before we all write it though, did we fully like iron out Lesa's?
That's what I was gonna say. I said, you know, we've talked enough of it. We've talked talk about Ayan, but what about Lesa? I don't want to.
Get somebody else to do
it. Y'all get in there.
I don't know where to begin. All I can say is that episode of the staycation where the husbands and the women go to that hotel that's so fancy or whatever. I did not like to see Lesa in that whole that protracted whole long. It wasn't even just the dinner fight. It wasn't just the like fight on the rooftop at drinks. There was just a lot of like stuff that was coming up that I need help parsing. She was very like I don't know. Her with Rich is never something I want to see. I'll say that.
Yeah. Okay. I think that more of
Pamela, his mom, who was like in the last 3 episodes.
The indigenous woman from Papua New Guinea.
Is she?
What's it? What are we? The Aboriginals? Is that you?
No, this is Rich's mother. I'm talking about.
Yeah, but you remember she has like a little the Asian look that we were talking about.
I might not have been wearing my glasses.
She looks like she's from Papua. I would guess like Thailand or something, or like Philippines.
Really?
Yeah. Rich's mom is Asian.
Okay, I wasn't wearing my glasses.
It's his secret, but she's Asian. I mean, maybe it's not his secret. Maybe he thinks people will know if I put. But you know, it seems to me like I don't know. Say something about being Asian, Rich. Like that would help.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing I didn't like about Rich, I just want to say real quick, is these last few episodes, he was so red. Oh, and it was nasty. Like it just was nasty how red he was.
Now you made me forget what I was actually gonna say about.
I know, and there was something I was going to say, but I don't remember. Go on.
Okay, I remember. It's that something is circulating, a clip from last season where it's on the question of, has Lesa not liked Stanberry this whole time? And if you recall, Lesa had a conflict with Nina. Her name is Nina, right? Over Nina's sudden pivot to ingratiate herself with them. Hey, everyone, Nina's also in the shame triad. In other words, the like run to power, aggrandize yourself, ego inflation triad, right? So we're not surprised that that's what Nina was doing. And Nina might actually be it too. So
I
although
can
she gives
see
me
that.
3 a little more strongly.
Yeah.
But the thing about what we found from those clips is that Lisa was like, okay, I don't have a problem with you being friends with Stanberry, and I don't even necessarily have a problem with Stanberry. I don't think she said I don't have a problem. It's just that you were talking shit about her yesterday, and then you made a hard pivot. And then in the confessional, she's like, I just think it's fake, and I want authentic people around me. I too am triggered by fake shit, by desperate people who are thirsty for power when I'm around it. So I totally relate to that. Do not begrudge her any of that. And I'm gonna call you out probably if I see you doing it, right? Like
Lisa was just on guard, not only about Stanberry, but around the whole situation with Stanberry and other women, you know?
And Stanberry, guess what, everyone? Dripping with anti-blackness, and I said it and I'll say it again. You want me to fucking prove it?
We said it from since the top. The whole money shit is
exactly. It's obvious, and it's obvious the kind of relationship she wants to have with Black women. But the rest of you can pretend like you don't see it while you worship at her crusty liver spotted foot. Anyway,
and let this be a lesson in the traps of representation, the insidiousness of fascism inside of liberalism. Because Ayan, as we were just saying, is the outspoken voice of a pro-Black sentiment on the show, and was one of the first ones to run with Stanberry. Like, what is it, Ayan? Like, does the living behavior that shows you the nasty, ugly, anti-Black investments that Stanberry has not meet with your professions about like how much you're excited about Akeem because he's a German African or whatever the thing is? Like, your spoken sentiment doesn't square with your actions. You know what I'm saying?
Not for nothing, Ayan is a former colonial subject of Stanberry's colonial governance. Okay,
My Oprah gift. Yeah.
Let them tell it. They have so much in common, their backgrounds and their upbringings.
Oh, okay. We need to talk about that next time too. But no, wait, let me just finish saying that.
Yeah, before you even finish, let me redirect.
No, don't redirect.
You can't redirect it. But
no, let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish this point. The point was that Lisa, because you said we didn't.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. We still in our Lisa attack only attacked Ayan. So
well, that should suggest the egregiousness of her offense. But what I am saying, I know it sounded like I was actually defending Lisa, but because I believe like that's how I would feel as well. The one thing I want to raise, it's like I like authentic people and I want to have authentic people around me. But it seems to me you are actually attracted to inauthentic people as well, Lisa. And it's one of those things where it's like you need to look in the mirror. You need to look in the mirror at that about you, which is also inauthentic and therefore attracted to inauthenticity. And it shouldn't be that hard to find for Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
So that's your only critique of Lisa?
Anybody seen her Instagram? No, hello. Didn't I just talk about her investments in whiteness?
Okay. She calls some of her ghetto very freely.
Oh yeah, that
she has a very like work and earning mindset, like, which is why
she's so triggered by the idea. Like, it's like you need to be a little more confident in your shit, and she's not confident in her business shit, which is why she's so.
And you feel that in the show.
She's not confident in her marriage, which is why she goes so hard about the suggestion that she that score. It's like. Is she a 3 or is she a 6?
A 6.
She by Sheree did not have anything at all for seasons and seasons and seasons. And still Sheree was like, I am a business. She by Sheree, But you don't see that.
The audacity of the 4.
But you see the, insecurity, the self-consciousness, when it comes to Mina Rowe and Lisa, which no shade to that. Like, I would be stressed if I was starting a new business too.
It's not new though. People I feel like Mina Rowe came across as pretty established. Like when people were saying Beyonce was wearing it and, it's expanded.
Oh, I didn't know Beyonce was wearing it.
Like people were talking about her. Like I thought that was just her business. And even if it did fail, she's married to Rich.
Yeah, she is a 6. She is a 6.
Because he's holding the purse strings quite tightly. So the other, and if she's a 6, she's security minded, then she's also concerned that at any moment the thing might be ripped out from under her, which it seems is precisely the trauma of her childhood, where her and her mother learned that her father actually has a second family.
Right. That's right.
That would
That makes a
And
lot of sense.
And we must always contextualize.
Come on, y'all. Come on.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense too, because it's like, girl, you got a whole kids and family with this man. Like, even if things were going to go left, like he would be required legally to take care of them. Like he has me.
What she needs to understand is that there's life after divorce. Guess what? If it don't work out, it's not, because that's the 3 is like, oh no, then I have to start. It's not a race. Okay. And you should know that being on TV. Life is a rich thing lived every day. Stop busting your ass so much. You're going to find a hotter, richer man after him.
Yeah.
She's so beautiful.
One thing I will also say is if she had some sort of like media strategist, I would hope that this person told her. For me, it was just so apparent that she was, I don't want to say she was being, because she wasn't being petty. I would be upset for the same reasons that Lesa is when it comes to Ion. But she came to the reunion in a way that was like, what is the opposite of open? When it came to that conversation with Ion, closed, guarded, but also like trying to perform superiority,
I defend that posture though, because I feel like it's a little fair. Like
because to me it looks weak. Let me just say it now.
I agree. It does look weak. I agree. And the cat is gonna eat the fish if we don't.
And I'm not saying it's wrong, but to me it was just like, this is not a good look for you. Like, I want you to appear strong, and right now you're appearing the opposite.
To me, it felt like, I mean, I was reading it. Maybe this is like because I resonate with it or something, but to me it was like a solemnness that reflects like disappointment, hurt, and anger, like all at once. Of course, when Andy was like, can we try to intend to get in a better place? You could tell Lesa wanted to say something snarky and dismissive, but like she was like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Like, sad, of course. I just feel like she wasn't handling Ion with the gloves that she's capable of in terms of like clapbacks and barbs and jabs and stuff with based on other reunions. And I read that just as like, because she's sad and hurt and still cares.
Yeah, but she's not giving expression to that sadness. She's trying to look disaffected and callous.
Yes, because when that's a very interesting, I'm like very interested in someone reading that situation like that, because when I read that same, like, yes, I am, that same like higher voice, I felt like that was her. She wanted to say, I'm so hurt, I'm upset, I'm destroyed. But instead it's like, I don't give a fuck.
But would you do that on national TV in front of this woman who's sitting next to Stanberry, giggling and kikiing and pretending like the violation that she caused you wasn't even that serious? Like, it feels like, I think
the truth is their friendship can be salvaged. So the answer is yes. You have your love for the other person has to be stronger than your ego. It does. It just does. It's not that far gone where it shouldn't be. Like, because Ion's singing the same refrain. She's not
Ion seemed genuine in her saying yes to Andy's question.
Yeah, she got more vulnerable when she answered, and Lesa got less vulnerable. She's not so far gone to hell. She hasn't so tarnished your name that the thing is not redeemable. So you have to put yourself out there. You have to let the wall down a little bit if that's gonna happen. There's no way you're gonna be friends again if you don't let the wall down. Like,
yeah.
Maybe she doesn't know if she wants to be or something.
And she can't afford, I mean, she did say at the end, this show is not worth it for me. It's like, yes, baby girl, and I hope you mean that, but we're going to be devastated if you leave the show, because then what will happen? Stanberry. Okay. Andy finding that one feet.
You always want to say that about Brooks, but I think Lesa is the most beautiful cast member.
We don't have to make it competitive. They're both gorgeous. What the hell? That was the lesson here.
All right.
The point is that if we're Andy plucking up the iconic friendship we didn't know we want. I saw that shit on Twitter. That's not a common sentiment. Shut up. Get that shit out of here.
Wait, who said that?
Andy
said,
read that comment.
It was a tweet from someone else from like
Yeah,
a
a tweet.
about Stanberry and
the
Ayan.
most iconic duo I never knew I needed. Those are your producers saying that dumb shit.
Nobody reads that in there.
Yeah, because they forged that little conclusion of the season too. That was production's idea, obviously.
The Queen's Party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can shove it up there. Until next time. That's what Katherine just did.
I did it.
Really?
You'll see in the playback. You'll see.
All right, we'll be talking about part 2 soon, right?
Yeah. Part 2, what are y'all looking for in particular? Yeah. I have no expectations for part 2. I'm like,
I want to hear Ayan account for herself. I mean, will she? But I want to see if anyone will hold her feet to the fire to get her to approach closer to something like accountability. Yeah, that's all I got. That's what I'm looking for.
I want to see more of Brooks's kind of very candid and unfazed and very earnest responses to all her questions, because I am loving her. And I would like Talene to shut. Oh my God, the amount of times I said, shut.
Yeah.
Talene. Like,
well, I think that's why I really related to Lesa on this staycation before the reunion, leading up to the finale. When she was going hard at Talene, it's like, yes, we can say that. But when I'm in a moment with someone and you come on the side, and when not only you come on the side, you
don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
And the betrayal of, we never talked about this, so I'm just going to say it and wrap it in one moment, is that the fact that in this Mina Row event, I actually highlighted Talene's business. She actually participated. She was the opening event. And then she turns around and says, yeah, why'd you host it there? That was weird. Why? If you had something to say, you should have said that in the planning phase.
In the planning phase.
Like, why are you saying
that's actually true. She should have. She said the same way it didn't occur to you for me to do it there, didn't occur to me. That's actually
yeah.
The other thing, Talene just had a little, I feel like even by the end, Andy was annoyed with her. Like, girl, yeah, everybody wants to come. No, that's what she said. I feel like Andy was correcting her a few times because I think maybe she thought this was the reunion playbook, is to like pipe up and say some stuff in a dynamic that you're not involved in. But when Lesa and Ayan are going back and she's like, oh, Ayan was loyal to you. She stood by. I said, girl, you don't know anything about their relationship.
It's actually crazy.
Stop talking. Just stop.
Should we tweet at her?
We should.
Shut the up.
And even though I am not a Caroline Brookes stan like Ellen and Kristen, I will say that the best line of the reunion was when Brooks leaned into Lesa and said about Ayan, look at that insecurity out of that bitch. I literally stood up like this.
Did. Oh my God, that was so awkward because Lesa was like, I'm not going to lean in and listen to you. I was like, well, you better listen to her.
Like, I'm trying to leave the door open, even though I am very cold looking.
I would love for Brooks and Lesa to really just put any sort of whatever aside and become a dynamic duo.
They could be the new duo. They could be season 3. They could rock season 3 if they really wanted to.
I don't think it'll ever happen. I don't think Brooks will be loyal enough, but I would love it. I would love it.
4s and 6s, they have something that really attracts them to each other, but they're usually.
Give me a dynamic. I don't know. Like, I can't think of one.
Oh wait, that's my sisters.
Oh, they're 4 and 6.
Yeah, but they be teaming up. They be teaming up.
Well, they would activate some of the worst of each other, and that would be good for TV, but bad for health or whatever.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Time to go find some 4-6 pairings to think about.
Yeah, surely. And let us know in the comments. if you have some Enneagram insights, thoughts, if you think we're mistyping anyone, if you sadly have the misfortune of agreeing with Ellen about Sarah might not being, she might not be a 7.
I like her as a 4. I think.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Let us know. Let us know that I'm the one that's in the wrong. Please back your girl up, okay?
Yeah, and shout out to the Beige Collection. We're waiting on your takes, your Enneagram takes.
And astrology. Oh, maybe she's talking about Elisa being a Capricorn, and I have to admit, I am a Capricorn.
Is Lisa Capricorn?
Or not Lisa. Sarah.
Oh,
That's what I meant. Sarah.
Okay.
Check back in with us. We got more to say.
Bye.
Bye.